I have somebody on the line already, I guess. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. Chris, did you catch that?
I did. I heard you read every word of it.
Yeah, I stumbled on a couple things because you know what, my glasses is getting a terrible reflection, and but anyways, I got it figured out now. Anyways, I just thought I would mention that I ran across that, and I don't remember where it was exactly, but I took a picture of it, and then I looked it up on the internet. And it's called the American Creed, and it's pretty cool. So
Okay.
And Chris always has a quote, which I like. It's from William Wallace, and I know we're getting close to St. Patrick's Day, and people with the Scottish heritage. I don't know how them and the Irish get along so well, but I guess they got along somewhat.
Well, they're both Celtic. Scottish and Irish is Celtic, and my wife is Scottish and Irish, so they must get along well because there's quite a few Scots-Irish in America, including my wife. So what's going on, John? Did you want to talk about Joe Biden and his slobber fest at the State of the Union?
Yeah, we can do that. But first, let's get William Wallace's quote was, "Men don't follow titles, men follow courage." Is that true?
They follow courage, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So, okay. Yeah, let's talk about the State of the Union, which if anybody that goes to the grocery store actually knows what the State of the Union is or buys gasoline, because back 2019 it was $1.65.9, $1.75.9, and now this is where we're at.
Yeah. I call it a slobber fest. I guess I could also call it a mumble fest, as well as a propaganda fest. A lot of stuff going on. To be fair to Biden, the beginning actually wasn't that bad. It looked like he was carrying himself for a while pretty well. Towards the end, he started going back to the mumbling and the slobber kind of mumbo-jumbo, many incoherent sentences that didn't make any sense. And by far the most insensitive thing he ever did, he was speaking about Laken Riley, this college student in Georgia who was killed by an illegal immigrant who came over the border thanks to Biden's open border policy. And he tried to show sympathy. He couldn't even get her name right. He called her Lincoln, not Laken. And then he said something about, well, even if we secure the border, they could still come over, $8,000 a piece, and none of it made any single bit of sense, and it was really bad. And the second half of that speech was embarrassing. I think my wife said it best. If he was just an 81-year-old guy off the street, it wouldn't be so bad. But this 81-year-old man is the president of the United States, not a man off the street, and it does not instill trust and security. In fact, several countries are now mocking Biden. Italy put together what looks like a Saturday Night Live clip mocking him fall down all the time. I think one of the Middle Eastern countries, it might have been Saudi Arabia, that made fun of him as well, and standing at the podium and falling all over himself. I mean, people are laughing at Joe Biden all over the world. This is really bad.
Yeah, and we're in a war with Ukraine, and it's an ugly situation where it's almost like it's almost like it's a money laundering thing over there. I mean, it's real ugly. And I wish we could get out of that situation and try to help the Ukrainians out in a different way, but it looks like we're going to have to escalate that before we're going to get done with it.
Well, if Trump gets reelected, I see him wrapping that war up very quickly. He'll go to Putin. He'll reach out to Putin and just make some demands and say, knock it off. You're not going to win this. I remember when this all started, the war in Ukraine, President Trump came out and said, when I was president, I reached out to Putin, and I said, if you go after Ukraine, I will bomb Moscow. And Putin said, no problem, and backed off. See, when you're dealing with a bully like Putin, or like some of these other world leaders who are bullies, the only way to cause them to take a step back and respect you is you got to hit them right between the mouth. You have to have a strong leader. Reagan did the same thing. Ronald Reagan did the same thing. Peace through strength is what Reagan said. And that's what Trump did as well, and it worked. But the thing about the war in Ukraine, Biden essentially started that war when he pulled out of Afghanistan and left billions of dollars of high-tech military equipment. I think it was $87 billion or some odd number like that, and left it in the hands of terrorists, the Taliban. Putin was watching. He said, this guy's he's spineless. He's weak. He can't defend his country. And so that pullout and leaving behind all those billions of dollars of defense weapons in the hands of the Taliban is what motivated Putin to say, well, Biden won't stop me, and that's why he invaded. And so that's about 2 years ago. And so we're still here, and, Biden has no one to blame but himself for his weakness.
Well, and this is where we're at. We actually have an invasion on our southern border, and I'm understanding that we're having problems on the northern border now.
Sure.
Actually, the sheriff was supposed to be here, but he's doing his sheriffly duties. I guess that's the way to put it. He's not. He's doing something right now today, but we're hoping to have him on next week. We kind of got fouled up with some things, but hopefully he'll be on next week or maybe even Friday for a little while with us. But anyways, the number that I'm hearing is 8 million since 2020 started.
Wow.
That invaded. But it's probably 3 times that. It's probably really close to 3 times that.
Yeah, the number I'm hearing is at least 10 million. At least.
Well,
and we're sorry?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Exactly.
And this all started because of what Biden did. I mean, for him to stand up there in the State of the Union address and say, we don't know why this is happening, it's a problem, we got to get it fixed. Joe Biden absolutely, definitely, unambiguously caused the crisis at the border within his first 100 days. Here's the evidence to prove this, that Biden caused this. Within his first 100 days in office, Joe Biden issued 94 executive orders. That's almost 100.
Wow.
94 executive orders undermining border security. Every single one of those 94, had something to do with undermining our border. He did it all on purpose.
Wow.
And what would be the reason? Well, Laura Trump, who is the daughter-in-law to Donald Trump, she said it best. She said in a video within the last day or so that at least 10 million illegal immigrants have come here, and she said, we know why. This is what she said. And it lines up with what you and I had said about a month or so ago, John. They said in order for the Democrats to register them to vote, they're going to vote by mail-in ballot because many of these people can't speak English. If they go to the polls, it would be obvious. But they can either fill out a mail-in ballot themselves, or someone help them fill it out, or someone just do it for them. And so that's how they're going to get, this is what she said, and I concur with that they're going to get 10 million more votes out of it. That's why he did this.
Yep.
There's no other reason.
And now that they're registering them to vote when they go to the DMV, isn't that another problematic issue, that they're just registering them to vote without even really consenting?
Well, yeah. In Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro issued his own executive order. I don't even think that's constitutional. He mandated that everyone who gets a driver's license is automatically registered to vote. So, yeah, they may not even know it.
Right.
I mean, if they don't even speak English well enough, they're getting registered to vote, not even knowing it. And once their name's on the voter file, someone can get a mail-in ballot in their name and fill it out.
I wonder how many of these 18-year-olds that are, getting driver's licenses the same, and they're oblivious to the fact that they're registered to vote. I mean, you should be able to pick your party affiliate, right? If somebody's signing you up to register, like you would think, right?
Well, oh, absolutely. Well, remember, you used to have to be 21 years old to vote. They brought it down to 18, and I'm sure that was part of getting more young people to vote Democrat. But remember, this whole situation, the 1993 motor voter law, that's what it's called. Bill Clinton and the Democrats passed that so that you could register to vote at the DMV, and you are not required to ask if these people are citizens. So who knows how many millions of people are on the voter rolls that shouldn't be, because what I've looked at, the organizations that do track illegal immigration, Center for Immigration Studies and others, they say it's between 30 and 40 million illegal immigrants in the U.S.
Holy cow.
There's a certain, it's not the migrant workers that's the problem. It's not, because they've done this generational.
Yeah.
I mean, they've come here, they've worked in the fields, and their families have done that. It's not the migrant workers. And some of them, they travel they start out wherever, and they just travel from one state to the other. I remember a fellow that lives up close to the New York line. He told me, he said that actually they started picking out peaches, I think in Georgia, or maybe it was even oranges. And he said they made it to his place for picking. They picked apples, and he said usually when they got done with that, they would head back home, and Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. And then he said the problem that he seen with it was that, I guess legally you have to take taxes out on them, but most of the places pay them with like a 1099, and then they have to pay their taxes themselves. But what he seen was the money was all going. They were wiring the money back straight to Mexico, or to whatever country they were from in South America, and what President Trump wanted to do was he wanted to tax that money that was being sent by wire,
so we could retain some
so
of
we
it.
could keep some of it here in the United States.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Migrant workers are legal immigrants. They get a visa, they have a certain period of time to work, and then they have to go home. Exactly. We're not against legal immigration. We're against illegal immigration because you don't know who's coming across the border. In fact, several hundred actual terrorists have been caught at our southern border. If we've caught several hundred, how many did not get caught?
Right. How many
So
are...
if there's a terrorist attack anytime soon, that's directly on Biden and the Democrats.
Yep.
So this is a national security issue. Again, you said it yourself. Not against immigrants who come here legally and work hard. My parents are immigrants from Italy. So great. We welcome people who come here and want to work. We're talking about people who come here illegally, and as we see with this Lake and Riley and others who have done, they've committed crimes and they've hurt people and they've injured people. And there's a video out there on YouTube of an illegal immigrant saying, because I have a baby here now, I'm set for life. I don't have to work.
Yeah.
I'm just going to collect my welfare program. So we don't want people here who are going to milk the welfare state or commit crimes. We want people who are going to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Chris, and you're exactly right. They're coming here. They're coming here for them reasons, and the drugs. That's the other thing. That the amount of fentanyl, and there's probably other drugs too involved. But don't you feel like It just isn't. It's just not the Dems' fault, or we can. It seems just like every 4 years we point fingers. The Democrats point fingers at the Republicans, and the Republicans point fingers at the Democrats. It seems like we need to just fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, we just need to get it fixed. We need to come to some kind of agreement. I mean, I'm not saying compromise, but we need to come to an agreement and get this fixed and be done with it.
Well, the problem, John, is that the Democrat Party has gone so far left since JFK. My parents were JFK Democrats. My dad was a steel worker and the treasurer of the Steel Workers Union and a Democrat at one time. My mother was a Democrat. And in the 80s, they left the Democrat Party. My mother, under Reagan, of course, she loved Reagan, became a Reagan Republican in 84. My dad left the Democrat Party in 88 while he was still working at the steel mill. He worked almost 27 years in the steel mill. Again, treasurer of the Steel Workers Union. So he leaves the Democrat Party in 88, becomes an independent for 4 years, and then in 92 he had enough and became a Republican. And my dad, I remember this because I was living at home with my parents while I was commuting to college in order to earn my bachelor's degree. I was trying to keep costs down, so I was living at home with them. He came home one day, and he said, when Ronald Reagan said, I didn't leave the Democrat Party, it left me, he said, my father said, I finally know what he meant by that. I said, what are you trying to say, Dad? He said, today I became a Republican. My mother and I gave him a standing ovation because the Democrat Party walked so far away. They've moved so hard left. JFK, John F. Kennedy, was by far the best or the last great Democrat president, and he would be a Republican by today's standards.
Well, I remembered, one of, how Facebook has memories that pop up? And so one of these memes popped up from 2019, and it says, I wonder how many people are thinking about our arguments from back then and realizing that we were right. And the immigration, Trump building a wall and the immigration was a big debate back then on Facebook. And if you believed in people legally coming into our country, the Democrats, like my friends that were Democrats, were really hitting me hard and accusing me of being a racist just because we all saw what is happening today back in 2019. And they just could not get that through their head.
It's not racist to protect your country from people who come here to commit crimes or just milk the welfare system dry.
Yes.
If we were racist, we wouldn't allow any immigrants in, but we do.
Right.
We're all for legal immigration. They play these games. The left. Anytime they don't like your ideas, they call you a racist or a bigot or a hater or some twisted. It's what they call gaslighting. It's all just a tactic. But look at this. During the State of the Union address, Biden claimed that he brought inflation down to 3%.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why the groceries are so cheap now?
Yeah.
You get 2 items for $100 now instead of a whole grocery cart.
Pennsylvania has the highest food cost due to inflation in the entire nation. And here's what want to know what the real inflation rate is? 18%.
Yeah.
Under Trump, it was 1.9%, less than 2%.
Yeah, and that's correct. And the way the way it's calculated is, you can play with the numbers and make it look like it's 3.5% or 4% or whatever, but it's definitely. You saying it's 18.5%? I just had a fellow tell me. Yesterday that he said he feels like the correct number is 17.5. But okay, so we'll agree to disagree about 1 point, huh?
Yeah. Well, from what I've read, they're saying it's 18 overall, but some specific sectors of the economy are higher. Some specific sectors have a 20 or 30% increase, such as new cars and used cars. Now, used cars, the cost is starting to come down, but new cars have gone up. more than 18%. So, I mean, it's 18% overall. So 18% is an average, which means in some cases it's more. So, I mean, this is horrendous. And inflation is another tax. So if we're looking at an 18% on average inflation, that means every time you buy something, you're paying 18 cents more per dollar for that item.
Wow.
So if you're buying a $10 item, you just paid an extra $1.80 for it.
Jeez, oh man, that's why your dollar when you go to the grocery store for getting gas doesn't go as far anymore.
Yeah.
No. And it's a hidden tax. Now get this. There's a quote attributed to Lenin, Vladimir Lenin, who started the Soviet Union. And he said the best way to tear down capitalism is through high taxes and high inflation.
Well, I tell you what, we got. We're gonna have to kind of like call it a day right there. I think, Chris, right there. But I do got one question for you. Well, your wife is Irish. So what? So what's the? So what are we having on Sunday for dinner?
Whatever she makes, I don't argue. My wife is Scottish and Irish. So
Okay.
Scots-Irish.
So you're having corned beef and cabbage?
Believe it or not, no. My wife is not picky about any kind of an ethnic food. She just whatever she feels like making, she makes, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
That's an American thing, I guess.
It might be more American than it is Irish. I don't know, but that's one thing that we do every year with. It's my wife's tradition that all the kids come, and so. But anyways, hey, I appreciate you calling in. We'll have you on again, and thanks for calling, Chris. You stay safe.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye, Chris.